Good evening, everybody. It is Russ Reyes from Kilt and Cork, and we are really happy to be bringing you season 2 of our Kilt and Cork live project that we're doing. So I want to welcome you to the show tonight. We're at our new time of 6 o'clock. We're going to try it out. We're not completely sold on it, but we'll try it out for at least the next couple of weeks and see if this works. Hopefully you'll be able to join us either live or you'll be able to join us at a later time to kind of check out what we're doing. But this first show, much like ending the season last year, I kind of wanted to just set the tone for what we're going to be doing in this season and also get some feedback from you guys and hear some comments and some suggestions, maybe some questions you might have about what we're doing and about the show, or maybe about some places we can go, things like that. So just kind of be mindful of that. I'd love to hear your questions, comments, suggestions throughout the show. Again, we've only got 20 minutes, so we'll kind of make it as quick as we can so that you can follow along and we can get out of here and respect your time, and then you can go have dinner, do whatever you're doing, or have your glass of wine, which I am having a really nice glass of a Pinot Noir. I think it's a 2015. Anyways, it's Bumgarner, which is a winery up here in Camino. They're part of the Carson Road Wineries and El Dorado Winery Association. But Bumgarner, I've had a really cool relationship with them over the years. They were one of the first wineries I wrote about when I was writing back in the day. So anyways, cheers to Brian and Jennifer out there. You guys, I'm tasting your wine here live on Kilt and Cork, our first episode of season 2. Hey guys, out there, it's good to see some friends joining. Diana, thank you for coming. Watching Mary Beth, Debbie, of course, Mike and Beverly. We'll see if you guys can break the record of watching every show like you did last year. So that was very cool. So again, thank you. My name is Russ Reyes, and this is Kilt and Cork Live that you're watching. And this is season 2. So we have some questions out there already. One of them came in from Anthony Rose earlier today. And his question was, what is our goal or where's our area that we're covering? So Kilt and Cork started last year here in El Dorado and Amador. We did a lot of shows in both areas of the Sierra Foothills. The wine country of the Sierra Foothills extends, I think it's close to 250 miles from the top of 49 to the south of 49. Highway 49, just for a little history, it's the road that connects all of the little gold rush mining towns through the Sierra Foothills, through the Sierra Nevada, and it's become a amazing wine country. But as well as wine, there's also beer and distilleries and bed and breakfasts and ski resorts and fishing and hunting and hiking and all kinds of cool stuff. And that's kind of what the focus has been. But to answer Anthony's question, it is a bigger world than the Sierra Foothills. And we are going to be going on the road about once a month to somewhere out of the area. And that's to kind of turn people on that are in Northern California to maybe a new experience that could be somewhere other than the Sierra Foothills. So we definitely are going to be expanding our footprint. We've got some shows set up in the coming month and couple of months down in Rancho Cordova, possibly Sacramento. And then we're going to be looking at doing some things up in Placer County and some places up there, and maybe even down into Murphy's. So those are all things that are on tap for 2019. And I have to tell you, I'm excited about that because there's so many cool things to see and do in the Sierra Foothills and beyond. And we want to share that with you. So that kind of brings me to sharing. It's so important for Kilt and Cork and for me to get this area out there to people who maybe haven't experienced it. And it happens all the time. I'll be at a place where I'll be talking about wine and kind of what I do. You know, I wear a kilt most of the time. And so people ask me, why am I wearing a kilt? And I kind of tell them. And when they start telling me about their favorite wineries, like, oh, I love, this winery here and I love this winery there. Most of the time they're talking about wineries in the foothills, but they're not quite sure the area. It's very common for people to mistake Amador County with El Dorado County, especially the southern part, the Fairplay area. So many people are kind of confusing that little area, which is fine because at least they're going out to the wineries. But we really want to help educate people as to what these areas have to offer, and they're very unique, even though they're similar in that they're all along Highway 49-ish or the Sierra foothills. There's still a lot of personality and flavor and things to discover that's different about each one of these places. And I'll tell you where we're going to be at our next show is going to be live from another location down in Amador, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But again, it's really to show people what the personality is of these areas. So again, if you're just joining us, I'm Russ Reyes from Kilt Cork, and we are taking your questions, we're taking your comments, we're taking your suggestions. It is the middle of winter, and I'm wearing a t-shirt, but it's a little bit warm inside here. May not always happen, but the weather's been crazy here in Northern California. A lot of rain and chilliness out there. Probably not as chilly as in upstate New York or Utah or some other places where our viewers are joining us from, but it's definitely been cold here in Northern California. So to answer a question that came through probably, I guess, towards the end of last year, people were asking some questions both on Facebook or in person or whatever. And that's one of the questions as to what is this? So I'll give you a little bit of a history on this in a second, but I want to point out to the people who are probably my age or a little younger who know what the show Gilligan's Island is. If you guys know what Gilligan's Island is, you don't have to give me a shout out, but yeah, exactly. It was one of those shows that we watched as kids, at least I did. And there was a guy named the Skipper. Everyone knows the Skipper. His little buddy was Gilligan. The cool thing about Gilligan's Island is they only said the skipper's name the very first show of the season, and they never said it again. So unless you caught it that first show, you only knew him as a skipper. So if you happen to know that bit of trivia out there, I will buy you a drink the next time I see you out and about. So whether it's a glass of wine or a drink at one of the pubs or a beer somewhere, you tell me what that name is, and I'll get you a drink next time I see you somewhere out there. So anyways, along that lines, I'm going to tell you what this is, but I probably won't bring it up again the rest of the season, if ever, because, kind of sometimes when you wear things like this, charms, crosses, milagros, whatever you want to have on your person, you're wearing them for a reason. There's a lot of reasons why we wear jewelry. And this is pretty significant to me. I started wearing it, I think, 3 years ago, if not longer, and I never take it off. So I've changed out the band a lot, but I've never taken off the actual pendant. And it's a Celtic symbol, and it's hard to see. I know you can't really see it on camera. You can kind of see it a little bit, but it's like three swirls that are all moving the same direction. And there's a lot of symbolism in it. It dates back from 500 BC is the earliest they can find it. It's called a triskel. It has a lot of symbolism to other cultures as well. I'm wearing it because it's the Celtic version here. But what it symbolizes is movement and motion, and not just movement and motion for the sake of moving, but moving forward, progressing. It's also symbolic of cycles, the cycles of life, the cycles of love, the cycles of anything. It could be the cycles of wine. And I see that we're getting some comments out there for who our skipper is. Now we'll kind of say if you're right or wrong after that. But so the reason why I wear it is because every morning when I wake up and I look in the mirror, I am reminded that today I'm going to keep moving forward. Whatever happened yesterday, or whatever the trials are in my life, or whatever my challenges were, or my successes and my celebrations, that was yesterday. And so today we're going to keep moving forward. Whatever that looks like, whatever that means to me, it's going to look like something totally different to someone else, but it's meaningful to me. And it has been a kind of an integral part in not only Kilt Cork and the desire and the actual motion that put this into play, but in my other business, Reyes Digital Media, and just life in general. I think sometimes we all need a little reminder that, sometimes we just have to get up and move forward. So that's what this symbol is. It's a triskel. It's a Celtic symbol. Just a little side note, when Christianity came into, Scotland and Ireland and the early English continent up there, they brought with it their meanings, and so consequently, this symbol also became kind of a Christian symbol. But it's since it's three-pronged, of course, it's the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. But it's also meant things like past, present, and future, mother, son, child, or I'm sorry, the mother, father, child, all kinds of meanings. It's got three. So it's a pretty cool symbol. I like it. It's really me, but you'll always see it on me. And for the people that ask why I wear it and what it is, now you know. So we'll move on from that. So the answer to that, the skipper, who is the skipper? Yes, his name is Jonas Grumby. That's a crazy name. I wish I knew the history of it. It was probably someone, producer or somebody who had a friend named Jonas Grumby, or maybe it's a family name or whatever. I don't know, but it's cool. And that's who the skipper was. And so we're going to give Michael House, next time I see you, buddy, I'm going to get you a glass of wine or a bourbon or whatever, wherever we happen to be at. I'm going to get you one of those. So very cool. Thank you very much for playing along. Again, if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for the show, please send them in. I'd love to hear from you. And again, thank you guys for joining me. I want to shout out to Jennifer Bumgarner. Yes, we are drinking your wine. She seems to have avoided the cold now, and they're in Hawaii. She said hi from Maui. So very cool. Thank you. And again, Debbie, for joining us. Thank you for joining us tonight. So a little bit about what's coming up this year in 2019. And I'm not sure how long this season's going to be. We might do the season, might last till summer, and then we might take some time off because there's a lot of stuff going on during the summer, a lot of events, and then pick it up again with maybe a season 3 that'll last us through the end of the fall and winter. We're not quite sure, but that's kind of what we're looking at. We're still going to do our house parties every month, and I wish I had some information for you for our upcoming one because it is going to be cool. We still have to nail down some details for the next house party, but that's going to be probably at the end of this month, at the end of January or the February. But we're looking to do one house party a month, and if you don't know what those are, just go to the website or go to Facebook and check it out, and you'll see what those are. And then I did want to talk about something that we wanted to start last year, and we actually got footage for. And it's our show called Wish You Were Here. And that's a recorded show. And I'm really excited about it because that's really where we're going to get to show you some really cool things by going inside the buildings and showing you things that we can't like do now on the live show unless I was like holding the phone or unless we did it another way. And we certainly could do that. But then we wouldn't be able to do all the other cool stuff we do with the slides and that kind of stuff. So Wish You Were Here. We do have our episode 1 that was recorded last summer. And I really want to get that out because it's so cool and it was so fun to do. And it kind of sets the tone for what the show's all about. But my plan is to do at least one of those a month. We're going to try and see if we can do that. And I really am excited about it. So when you see that starting to come up, look for that, and that'll be a show that'll probably be on YouTube, and it's going to be our kind of a flagship show, if you will, and we're looking for content for that. So we have the first couple of shows set, but I mean, we want to do some bed and breakfast, show you around a great bed and breakfast, and show you around the restaurant, show you some really cool places to see and visit within this area, and talk to the people who run them and who live here and who are just passionate about what they're having to offer you when you visit this area. And that's really what Wish You Were Here is all about. So I'm excited about that. That's coming up this year, and hopefully we'll have the first episode out here pretty quick. Let's see here. What else am I going to talk about? If you have any questions, send those in. So I guess the other part of this, thank you, Stacy. I think the other part of not Wish You Were Here, but of Kilt and Cork, I need to take a drink because this is really good wine. Again, it's the 2015 Pinot Noir from Bumgarner up in Camino. Is we are going to be giving away a lot of tickets. So there's a lot of events that are happening this year, not to mention things that we do ourselves, but there's some things to look forward to that are coming up. Locally, there's a couple of events, the Winter Wine Adventure, which is happening up in Camino in February. We've got Passport, which is the El Dorado wine country, coming up. In April, we've got Big Crush coming up. Actually, not Big. Yeah. Big Crush is later, but Behind the Cellar Door coming up in Amador. Amador 4 Fires and the series that they do. we've got the Placerville Bell Tower Brewfest coming up in June. So we're going to be talking about these events. We're going to be going to these events, and we're going to be encouraging you to go to these events so that you can see us and kind of hang out and enjoy this area, because it's amazing. There's some really cool events coming up. So anyways, look for that. We're going to be wrapping up here in a second. So I do want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I know it's been a quick show, and it's kind of been about what we're planning on doing this year. But your feedback and your comments, they're encouraged all the time, not just on this show right now, but all the time. If you see something, or if you have an idea, please just message me or text me. Facebook or Instagram, they're both great to get a hold of me. And I want to thank the people that have done that. We've got some more collaborations coming up, just because people said, hey, we like what you're doing, and we want to try and be a part of that. So specifically a friend of mine named Daniel, actually, who I met through Kilt Cork, we're going to be doing some cool stuff, and I look forward to working with him on some things. So look for that. Our next show is going to be on January 17th. And that is going to be the Wine on 49 show. And I kind of talked a little bit about the beginning at the show of these cool places that we go to. And Wine on 49 is in Sutter Creek. And it's the little winery association of the tasting rooms that are located there on Main Street in Sutter Creek. And so they've been gracious enough to ask if we could come down and just kind of talk about them and show what there is in Sutter Creek. It's a completely different wine tasting experience than, say, your wine tasting in Fairplay or wine tasting in the Shenandoah or whatever. It's unique, and it's going to be really cool to talk about. And that's kind of what I was saying. There's so many different ways to experience this area, from like the Carson Road area. There's, wineries there that you can kind of hit in a day. Fairplay down in South County. You've got Pleasant Valley, which has got its own little group of wineries, and every one of them has their own kind of feel and style, and in the regions have their own feel and style. It's the cool thing. It's not like you're just going to one area and it all feels the same. It's very different. Each one of these little areas is different. So Sutter Creek is one of the ones that it's a little bit different experience, because it's all within that town. And Sutter Creek is, I guess they call it the jewel of the Sierra. It's just this charming little town that you're going to see, and I'm excited to show you next week. So we're going to be at Les Moulins Rouge. Some of our friends down there in Sutter Creek have offered up their tasting room. And so the winemakers and winery owners that are part of that group are going to be on the show, just kind of telling us a little bit about why you should come down there and taste. So I look forward to doing more of these shows where we talk to the wineries and the winery makers. So, there's some potential to do more of these type of shows, like with the Carson Road wineries, with the El Dorado Winery Association, Amador Winery Association, and then onwards. So I know Placer County's got a wine trail, and these individual little associations and bigger associations are really the go-to to find out exactly where to taste, how to taste, and what they have to offer. So we're going to talk about those guys. Lastly, I wanted to say, if you're watching, or if you want to pass this on, we are looking for locations. So we're looking for content, and that helps us build the show and helps keep you guys interested. So if you know anyone out there, please let them know that we're here and that we can talk about them on the show, have them on the show live. And always, please share. Please talk about Kilt Cork with your friends if they enjoy drinking anything. We'll talk about it on the show, but it really helps if you guys share it and help build our audience out there. Follow us on Instagram. We do like to kind of change the content up a little bit. And, the content on Instagram sometimes is a little bit different than Facebook. So follow us on that, like us on Facebook. And then hopefully this year we're going to be getting that YouTube channel. It's already there. So if you go to Kilt Cork Live, or just Kilt Cork, it's on YouTube, but there's going to be some more stuff there too. So I think that's about it. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. It's been a great experience talking about what's exciting and what's going to be coming up this year. And I really hope that you continue to follow us and continue to support us, and that we can continue to entertain you and show you what there is to do out here. So you guys, thank you very, very much for joining me tonight on Kilt Cork Live. And I look forward to seeing you out and about tasting. And I look forward to seeing you next week. So until next week, cheers from Russ Reyes at Kilt Cork. You guys have a great evening and a safe week. Bye.